Hey everybody, Laurabree Monday, your Public Information Officer here for the Rock Hill School District, joined by Helena Miller, of course, the chair of the school board. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Absolutely.
We decided for this board brief, we really wanted to spend some time talking about what happened during the board meeting because a lot of big topics came up. We're going to kind of give you a recap. We're also curious what you think about this format. We heard people talk about giving us feedback, so we've created a jot form. That link is available. We want to hear from our constituents. The board wants to hear from you, so does the district office. Anything you want to share, good and bad, we want to hear it. So let's kind of break down. We started with a public hearing. Let's explain to folks what that was and how that piece went.
So, legally, as a school district, when we have our annual budget, we are required and love the opportunity to hear the feedback from the community. So we have to hold a public hearing, and that is very different than what our normal board meetings look like, because the board is not participating. This is an opportunity for the public to interact with the superintendent and the financial people who are presenting the budget to the board for consideration later. So that took place at 5 o'clock yesterday. Our interim superintendent, Dr. John Jones, presented that budget to the community. And then people who were in the audience here at the district office had an opportunity to ask any kind of questions or clarifications. So the board's role is really just to listen and to open and close that meeting formally.
Okay, so we roll into our traditional meeting. That's at 6 o'clock.
Right.
So we start with a surprise. I want to start with some really good stuff. So talk about this because you were smiling ear to ear.
Yes, I was. So as most of the community know, Dr. John Jones has been with us for 7 years. He has served as the interim superintendent 2 times. And last night's board meeting was his last board meeting in that role because he is retiring effective Monday. So we did not want to let him on that we had a surprise waiting for him because he has a group of his administrators that wanted to show appreciation. As one of the board, we wanted to do that as well. So because of that, we didn't tell him that we had a recognition of him on the agenda. So we did a little funny and had Ms. Kim or Dr. Kim Oden and a bunch of the administrators kind of bust in and surprise him.
It was special. Hopefully
yes.
You've enjoyed some of these pictures we've been showing. And then we roll into the rest of the meeting. We had several folks who'd signed up under communications. Mm-hmm. Representative John King came, shared some thoughts. We're putting the time codes of all those discussions there for you as well. We had a mom who's returned for a second time because she's so passionate about her kids, her
right.
story, and she shared that, so you could listen to that as well. And then we revisit the budget. So let's kind of break down a little bit of that piece of the meeting. A lot of discussion, healthy mm-hmm. discussion.
Absolutely.
And we're going to get into the millage rate. So first let's talk about what got us there.
Mm-hmm. So then it's time for the board to consider the budget proposal that the superintendent was presenting us. And as part of that, obviously, is taking all the input that we've gotten from constituents, as well as talk amongst each other in a public forum so that everybody can hear sort of what the thoughts are. And I think the big takeaways from that conversation is the board is incredibly unified in what we feel are the priorities for our district. We know that we have come into this budget with a deficit originally. There has been a lot of work done under Dr. Jones' leadership to put us in a very good financial place to where we move into the budget year for 25-26. Obviously, some of those cuts that you see have been conversations that we've had over the past 6 months or so, including the new organizational chart for the district office, et cetera. And priorities in this budget was very much to look at pay increases for some of our unclassified staff. And it was passed with a 4-3 vote. I think the conversation afterwards was that it wasn't really the content of the budget that caused that differentiation in votes, but it was very much where do you make up the difference? How do you do that? Do you use fund balance money or do you use a millage increase or a combination thereof? But overall, the board unilaterally supports the budget. And now it has passed. I think we got cheers in the in the boardroom afterwards, and we're excited to see that work start.
So we talked about a millage increase. Who is getting raises, and can you break down really what a millage increase means?
Yes, so the raise is for our support staff, level 1 through 5, not to exceed 10% and not to exceed the approved millage increase that we had last night. So as far as how exactly much that is going to be for each one of the employees is going to be determined over the next month or so through business services.
Okay, and then let's talk about millage increases. What does that mean? We compare it to neighboring districts. We're still lower than most. We're raising it 3%, I believe. So elaborate on who's affected by that increase.
Yeah. So the effect goes to the business community in Rock Hill. The rates in Rock Hill is significantly lower even after last night's votes than our surrounding districts. We have not had a millage increase in the past 3 years, so this is the first time for a while. Prior to that, it was pretty much standard practice over as long as I've been on the board and probably prior. But I think it's also important to state that our community have different needs maybe than our surrounding communities, and that it is appropriate at this point.
And there was discussion too about whether to use fund balance for part of that. So explain fund balance a little bit to folks too.
Yes, so fund balance is a sort of a unique school district concept. And sometimes people think of it as a slush fund or a savings account, which is very incorrect. So by state law, Department of Education wants us to keep a healthy fund balance. Our school district policy states that it has to be 17% of the budget. And the purpose for this is that our income streams through the year is not consistent, right? It's not like we get the same amount of income every month. So the fund balance is really there to make sure that we can cover our expenses on a monthly basis. Again, our district policy says that we should not dip below 17%. We're currently above that, which means that there are some money in that fund balance that we could potentially use for things like this. Why do we have a fund balance? Well, it's because of over collections, basically. So we have a little bit of extra money in there. That's the basis of a fund balance. Again, this is not money that we can drain completely because we have to have that. Once we get below a certain threshold as a district, you basically have to start borrowing money and pay interest in order to make those monthly or recurring costs, which is not the sign of a healthy school district. So we never want to put ourselves in that position. So having a little bit extra in this fund is actually a good thing, and it shows that the district is at a sound financial shape. In addition to that, I think it's important to notify or to clarify that we have had a consistently healthy fund balance in our district for at least 20 years.
And there were 2 amendments, I believe, when it was approved. Dr. Belton had called for the vote and with 2 amendments.
Yes, so one of those amendments was the pay scale increase for the support staff level 1 through 5. And the secondary amendment was to fund the membership of the OEC for the district. And the Old English Consortium is a nonprofit that provides professional development and training for school districts around our region.
Again, balanced budget passed 4-3. Anything you want to add that I didn't ask you?
Yeah, so I think what needs to be added into that is knowing that we are excited about the future of Rock Hill schools. I think I want to thank Dr. Jones and all of the district office staff that has been involved directly in making this budget process happen. This has been a very challenging budget process just because of the parameters that we've had. And I think overall we're just very excited about moving into the next year. In addition to that, which was shared, is our new superintendent is starting this week, and the transfer officially happens on Monday. But under her leadership, the board is looking forward to a board retreat. And when we say retreat, that sounds really fancy. It is not going to be fancy. It is going to be very cheap, we promise. But what is going to take place is that the board and the new superintendent, together with the firm that we used to hire her, we're going to have a work session to talk about the goals for Rock Hill Schools and where the priorities are, and then we will look forward to her leadership on taking us into the new school year. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, we welcome Dr. Elder, and we thank you for watching. We also welcome your feedback. Thank you, Helena, for your time.